Good morning, folks, and welcome back to the online learning platform at Department of Civil Engineering. We are once again together for the course on occupational health and safety. I'm Rajesh Gopinath. So, friends, in the previous session, we had an understanding with respect to the risk of infectious diseases at your workplaces, and it's a perfect bet because we are currently speaking about work from home due to COVID restrictions. In today's class, we shall try to respect and we shall try to understand the potential threats, hazards, and risks, okay, with respect to those employees who are working towards managing the solid waste, municipal solid waste. This would be the flow of presentation, and I shall introduce you to the various causative factors. I shall distinguish the different hazards, okay, pictorially and through videos, and finally we shall try to understand how can we go about controlling these issues, and I shall summarize and list the references for a kind perusal. First and foremost, we need to have clarity with the concept of solid waste management. So let's start with a small video and then we shall proceed with the explanation. Kindly try to view the video. If the audio is not clear, ignore it, but just view it. Thank you. So I'll just pause and get back. Okay. So we are basically talking about what? Municipal solid waste management, municipality, residences. So we are basically talking about household waste, solid waste which is generated in each and everyone's house. So we are all generators. So what you're seeing now is the heterogeneous solid waste which is getting dumped into a dustbin. Then the generator transports it to a system. It depends on what kind of system is persisting in terms of collection mechanism. So you can see there's an automated collection mechanism. So we need to understand the various dimensions and nuances of solid waste management. It starts with generation of household waste, then it continues with collection of household waste by the pertinent authorities. Collection can be manual, collection can be mechanical. This is mechanical. And then finally, after collection, you have got transportation. All the solid waste which has been collected from every household, every street, okay, it is then taken to a centralized location. This cycle doesn't end on one day. It's a continuous cycle. It's a loop. Because, you know, every day solid waste is generated and you would find a heterogeneous mixture. You find plastics, you find food, you find napkins, and then what happens after the collection? What happens after transportation? In a processing unit, there are employees who are working who initiate segregation. They separate the solid waste, let's say papers, plastics, glass, you know, biodegradable food, and so forth. And that is why, you know, it is very important to understand that if we segregate the waste that we are generating in our houses, that would reduce the load, that would reduce the threats to these potential employees. And I'm very sure that most of us are aware that in every household, we are expected, we are obliged to segregate dry waste and wet waste. So friends, please have a view of how segregation takes place. Now, segregation can be manual, as you can see them doing it. Segregation can also be mechanical. Let us say we are talking about there are certain ferrites or any material which has magnetic properties. We can separate them by using some magnetic devices or magnets with strong power. So you can see this is where the disposal is taking place, and then they would eventually take it for segregation. Now, by looking at this slide, we need to understand that when you say solid waste, it's not a homogeneous mix. You will find anything under the earth in this place, especially if the household people are not properly segregating the waste, things can become murkier. For example, you're not supposed to transfer medical waste, that is biomedical waste like needles and syringes. Okay, you're not supposed to throw away the electronic waste because these are all hazardous in nature. And just imagine if they also end up in these locations, how much of potential threat is there? So friends, we are now having a view of a landfill. Okay, this is a potential landfill that you're looking at. So basically what happens is, as a final process of disposal, after the processing, that is after you're segregated, after you have separated items which can be reused, which can be recovered, which can be recycled, then eventually everything will find its way into landfills. These are those locations which are, founded or located very far away from your residential areas. And then eventually all the solid waste would be dumped into these places, covered up and, totally sealed. Just imagine how much of solid waste is being generated. Papers, plastics, carton boxes. Now imagine the population of India and imagine how much of solid waste is generated every day, how much of solid waste has to be managed every day. And what if in case the system collapses? What if in case the system fails? Basically, friends, what happens in landfills is they dump, first of all, they dig up the place and cell by cell, that is, altitude by altitude, or let's say level by level. Okay, they would be dumping the solid waste and then covering it with mud, soil. And then again over the soil, again the next containment of solid waste will be dumped. So eventually in a landfill, you're filling the land with solid waste. So this video also says how we can go about reducing the load on these landfills, because we are very much aware that the availability of land is a very big concern. Okay, so getting back, so friends, what are the different kind of solid waste which are generated right away in your house? You have metals. Okay, you've got glass, you've got plastics, you've got the discarded food, you got papers, cardboard, and yes, probably, most of you take medication, so you might find biomedical waste. You also would be indulging in electronic gadgets. So once they become obsolete or they're not functioning, you tend to throw them away. Now, what I want the people to understand is, when we speak about municipal solid waste management, biomedical waste and electronic waste are not part of this. All right. And now, please look at this slide on your left-hand side. Country by country, nation by nation, continent by continent, there's vast amount of solid waste being generated. Now, this is a recap to the video what we saw. So what are the various phases in a municipal solid waste management system? It starts with the generator, that is each of us. And then we dispose it into a system wherein collection happens by an authority. They collect it, then they transport it, they take it to a facility where segregation takes place, processing takes place, treatment takes place, and eventually there is the final disposal. With this brief introduction, let us try to understand the need for municipal solid waste management. Please understand that if this system collapses, if there is a loophole, if there's a gap, if there's a failure, okay, then it is the municipality, it is the residents who are going to suffer. Because let's understand that a very bad solid waste management system at a centralized level or a decentralized level or even in household level, it can lead to various issues in terms of health, in terms of infectious diseases. This is something which we had discussed in the previous session also. Now, we have not forgotten the episode of plague which had happened. So now we all can come to a conclusion that it is very important that solid waste must be managed. And yes, thankfully, we have dedicated people, we have a dedicated sector which takes care of this solid waste which is coming from everyone's house. But then we should also understand one thing. Even these people, even these workers, even these employees, they are also subjected to threats, risks, and hazards. So when we speak about occupational safety and health aspects, my dear friends, it's very important that we respect their duty and we understand what are the potential hazards that they are obliged to. A very simple depiction of this image can give you an impression. Look at how they are standing, long working hours. Look at the movement of their hands. Look at the crowded place that they are standing in. This itself should give a picture to you that there are potential hazards and risks which are facing them. Some of these hazards are known, some of these are unknown to us. Now, what are the causative factors? Friends, basically it depends on the nature of your raw waste itself. What is its composition? What are its components? Okay, this raw waste that we are talking about, is it decomposable or not decomposable? Does it contain any toxic substances? When they decompose, do they give out any gases or liquids? Okay, these raw waste, are they sharp in nature? Would they cut your hand or finger? Are they toxic when you inhale them? When we handle them, is it too heavy to move it, to lift it, to carry it? When you process them, based on the technology that we are following, is there heat involved? Is there radiation involved? Is there chemicals involved? Now, since you're talking about municipal solid waste, definitely you can have the presence of houseflies who are carriers to vectors. So there would be infectious diseases. You can talk about, probably waterborne diseases also in this context. So when you finally talk about disposal, every stage, my dear friends, there is a potential hazard and risk involved. And you can categorize these hazards as electrical hazards, mechanical hazards, ergonomic hazards, chemical hazards, biological hazards, and if you want to add more, psychological hazards. Okay, let's try to understand each of these. Now, mechanical hazards. Just look at this picture, my dear friends, wherein all the compacted solid waste has been kept one over the other. Now imagine a person who is working in this place. What if these piles or bales, what if they fall down? Then there is a potential hazard of objects which fall on top of the workers. This is a potential mechanical hazard. Now, mechanical hazard also involves machines. There are so many machines which are at play, which are at work. Some of these machines may be conveyors, which transport the material, as you saw in the video. Some of these machines would be shredders, which will be shredding the material. Some of these machines will be compactors, which would be compressing these materials. So, if there is a worker who is working with these machines, it is obvious that, a lack of attention, lack of focus can result in an accident, wherein a mechanical hazard can result in physical injury, like loss of limb. Now, forget your mechanical instruments. Now, probably in underdeveloped countries or developing countries, wherein you do not go for mechanized equipment, you might do it manually. So you have to lift, you have to carry, you have to move, you have to shovel the entire waste, which would also put pressure on your body system. Look at this. While on the left-hand side, a compactor is in place. Now, if this gentleman loses his attention and falls into this, then it's a potential threat to his life. Now, look at the image on the right-hand side. Definitely, there are machines which are being used. But if this machine malfunctions, there is a potential threat for anybody who's trying to repair it. Okay? Now, before I show you the video, friends, have a look at this machine, how compact it is. they've all been designed in such a manner that the solid waste must be processed efficiently. But how efficient is this when it comes to safety of the worker? Now let's look at the video. So basically, this is an overview of what happens in a municipal solid waste management plant. So the collection system dumps all the solid waste into these facilities. See how many different types of machines are in place here. And please understand, though these are machines, they are still operated by humans. They're operated by workers. Let's look at this video once again. So you've got a conveyor belt. There are people working and they are manually separating it. Now, when they're manually separating it, what if there are blades, sharp objects? Would it not cut into their hands or fingers? What if it contains certain substances which are very toxic in nature? So the hazard can shift from being mechanical to also chemical. Friends, look at the image on the left-hand side. It's a compactor. And look at the image on the right-hand side, wherein a person is trying to repair it, if in case there's a malfunction. So potentially his life is at risk when he attempts to carry out any form of repair. Now, when you saw the previous image, you can look at the posture, look at the way he has gone inside the machine to repair it. This is not something of a comfort zone. So probably, friends, we need to understand that mechanical hazards can sometimes also lead to ergonomic hazards. So when I say ergonomic hazards, the posture with which you carry out your work, the way you lift things, the way you carry things. Okay, are you working wherein you lift heavy objects periodically, regularly, frequently? Okay, are you having a posture in which you have to carry something very heavy to a big distance or even a small distance? Or do you carry out work wherein you bend, you squat for a longer duration? So eventually, friends, what I need you to understand is the occupational hazards in the context of municipal solid waste management. When it comes to manual labor, okay, there is a long threat, prolonged hazard with respect to their body function, because a person may have to bend for a long time. Okay, so eventually, there could be problems with respect to RSI, standing for long hours, too much of stress on your fingers, on your hand, on your palms. Now look at this. This image gives a very simple representation of how these two individuals are in a very crowded place, congested place. There is a machine behind them, there is a machine in front of them, and they're trying to carry out repair. So this posture will definitely put a lot of stress on them. So it's an ergonomic hazard. In simple words, if I want you to understand what is ergonomic hazard, if you're seated for a long time on a chair in an incorrect posture, then you would find that your upper back or lower back or your neck would be pain. So for a very simple posture of sitting in the chair, if it can cause you problems, then imagine the state of these workers who have to deal with heavy objects and improper posture. Now, it is not just about repairing the instrument. It is not just about getting caught in the machine, but even when you repair, the posture with which you have to do it can lead to body functions being impaired. So let's move on to the biological hazard. Friends, we are talking about municipal solid waste. solid waste which has been generated in your houses, not which has been generated in industries or chemical laboratories. So you're talking about food waste. Now, we need to understand that when we dump your wet waste or your biodegradable waste, they obviously biodegrade. Of course, the rate of degradation would vary, but the biodegradation releases gases. It releases pungent odor. It releases microorganisms. You have houseflies which get attracted to them. So you've got so many carriers which eventually would become a potential threat because they would carry viruses and bacteria, wherein there's a strong risk of transmitting pathogens into the body system. Now, these workers, look at their plight, because when you are dealing with solid waste, you need to have a proper personal protective equipment. Simply by having gloves would not suffice. And if you look at the Indian system, unfortunately, where there is a strong inorganic sector, wherein they don't have even a basic PPE for your hands, not even gloves. Imagine if this lady, she has a cut in her hand. There's a strong chance that microorganisms can enter her bloodstream. So biological hazard is also one more potential hazard of a inorganized municipal solid waste management sector. This is something we have discussed previously, the hantavirus, which happens due to the mice or rats or rodents. So eventually you do find that rats and rodents are attracted to the solid waste which we dump because it contains food materials. So if we can be exposed to this, then imagine the plight of those workers who are surrounded by solid waste, which could be a potential breeding ground for these kind of rodents. Now, if your solid waste gets mixed with waste materials from your poultry farm, or let us say you have biomedical waste which has been illegally dumped into your solid waste. Now, friends, we all understand we are working from home. So most of us are taking medication. Most of us might be using needles, syringes. What if you dump all these also with your solid waste? So, you know, there are strong biological hazards also happening because of failure of the generator, that is we people. Now, yes, we talk about preserved food, which can again lead to a threat of botulism for these workers. Yes, as I told you, hantavirus. Now, please understand that even mosquitoes, even malaria can be one potential risk or threat when it comes to improper municipal solid waste management. So moving on from mechanical hazards, ergonomic hazards, or biological hazards, let us try to understand chemical hazards. Let's try to realize the fact that everything that we dispose is a chemical, maybe organic, maybe inorganic, maybe they degrade, maybe they degrade. Now, when they degrade, they may release gases, which could be noxious, which could be toxic. Now, imagine what if you burn these solid waste? Then there are toxic fumes which are coming out. Now, eventually, if you are in a location like this, smoke, toxic gases, and also heat. That is, these are also potential hazards of burning. Now, something which happens in an organized sector and something which happens in an inorganized sector. Imagine the plight and the health hazards of all these workers. So friends, there are threats not only in the organized sector, but there are more threats in the unorganized sector, especially the poor countries. We need to understand one fact, a reality that, you know, sometimes the rich nations and developed nations, they send away their waste materials to poor countries. Please understand, waste management is a business. But waste management in an inorganized manner can be a huge hazard to these people, to these innocent people who have no choice but to accept this as part of their livelihood. When we say chemical hazard, okay, not just the toxic substances or corrosive substances or flammable substances. Imagine you throw your battery away in the solid waste, or your perfumes or spray bottles. They also contain chemicals and toxic substances. Eventually, in simple manner, there's also a lot of dust generated when you try to handle these kind of waste. This is a very simple depiction of what something has happened to an individual who was working with the solid waste because of the chemical reaction. Probably why? Because this individual was not wearing gloves. Now, again, skin allergies. Again, because of contact with some gases or chemicals, or maybe some microorganisms also. So this is basically what a municipal solid waste management worker can face. Apart from this, we should also understand that there is a lot of machines at place, there are vehicles at place. Okay, now not only they're at place, but they're also in action. So eventually there would be a huge amount of noise which would be generated. So these workers are also exposed to constant and sometimes intermittent noise levels, probably at the collection point, at processing point. Now, imagine if the workers are not even wearing personal protective devices, then it's a potential hazard to the auditory system. And please realize, this is not a blue-collar job. This is not a job which happens in indoors with air conditioning systems. This is a job which happens outdoors. So working outdoors at great temperatures or at very low temperatures is also a hazard for the health of these workers. Let's look at one more video. Though this video depicts a system, something similar to a vacuum cleaner, where there is a sucker which is sucking everything. Of course, this video gives you an impression that what all can be part of your solid waste. But we need to understand one fact, that still this has to be operated by an individual. And just imagine what would be the potential of the air being sucked. So there is a threat for any worker. At the same time, this individual is working outdoors. So I'm sure not only is exposed to noise, but also to thermal conditions and also to vibration. Now, what we need to understand is, moving on from mechanical, ergonomic, biological, chemical, thermal, vibrational, noise hazards, we are talking about processing units which involve electronic and electrical gadgets, which speaks about hazards which can originate when you conduct operations such as welding and so forth, or probably a short circuit. So yes, there are sparks which can also be generated, and yes, electrical hazards can also be a potential hazard. So friends, what you need to understand is, some of the hazards at least we know. See, as you can see in the image, you get to know these are the potential threats, risks and hazards which any employee can face. Okay. At the same time, would there also be hazards which are unknown to us? Probably, most probably. Let's have a look at one of these videos. By showing you these various videos, I want to make you understand that there are different kind of systems which are existing across the globe. Some of them are highly advanced, some of them are kind of obsolete, some of them are automized, some of them are manual, but threat and hazard exist everywhere. What we need to question is the priority about solid waste management alone, or does the priority also involve safety of these workers? Just imagine the amount of dust which has been generated here when the waste fell into this conveyor belt. Look at the amount of moving parts, gears. These are all potential hazards for any worker. So friends, this video actually is kind of a recap for you to understand what are the hazards that exist. So imagine moving parts with blades, with gears. So this video actually gives you a depiction of whatever we have seen so far. Hazards that we can consider, hazards that we can assume, hazards that we can identify. But friends, there are also hazards that goes unnoticed, hazards of the unknown. And this all depends on two aspects. One, the quality of generation, that is how good your segregation has happened at the generation point itself. The quality of processing, how well have you trained the workers? How much are they aware of proper management practices? How organized is your sector? So sometimes the greatest danger is not the hazard that we can identify, but the hazard that goes unnoticed and be a potential threat. So my dear friends, how can we go about controlling them? Obviously, if you look at the hierarchy of control, we speak about good work practices, good engineering control. We speak about safety aspects, but the most important thing is if nothing of these are at place, if nothing of these are at work, if nothing of these are being implemented, then it is your personal protective equipment. It is your personal protective gear or clothing which can protect you. Have a simple understanding by looking at the gentleman on the left-hand side and the gentleman on the right-hand side. This is an inorganized sector. Just imagine what all risks they can be exposed to. When nothing is at place, the only thing that could have protected them is a proper personal protective equipment. Of course, we need to give them awareness. Okay, we need to make them understand about dangers. We need to have placards. We need to have safety warnings in place. And most importantly, we need to train them. The training can be with respect to ergonomics. The training can be with respect to how to operate a machinery, how to lift a weight, and so forth. What to do, what not to do in the event of an accident. Friends, I'm just moving on with a simple case study. So, basically, when a study was carried out for a municipality, so this is what they've identified, the potential hazards. As you can see here, they have identified mechanical hazards, they have identified biological hazards. They even spoken about, an employee getting run over by a truck. When it comes to your ergonomic hazard, they have identified the cases in the workers with respect to the neck pain or shoulder pain or back pain, okay, their exposure to dust and electric shocks. So various case studies across various municipalities, all these attributes have been highlighted. So a very quick recap. When it comes to the causative factors, we need to understand the threats can be biological, physical, chemical, or ergonomic in nature. So friends, a very simple summary is every worker who works in this sector is exposed to various kind of threats and risks and hazards as shown to you on the left-hand side. But apart from this, I also want you to understand an additional hazard. All these workers who are probably working in the unorganized sector are not working for luxury. These are those people, the downtrodden people, those people who have no other option, no other livelihood that they accept it. Please understand, there is a psychological issue also. People look down upon these workers. They also do not feel so great to work in these sectors, but there is no choice. So we need to understand it's our duty to ensure that this class of workers who are doing a supreme job for any nation are to be well taken care of. And that starts with we people. It starts with us in our houses. We should segregate the waste properly. No more, we should dump sharp blades, batteries, biomedical waste into the dustbin, which eventually goes to these people. My dear friends, municipal solid waste management has to be managed separately. Biomedical waste has to be managed separately. Your electronic and electrical gadgets, the waste arising from them also has to be managed separately. If the management has to be proper, then we need to understand, we need to be first aware of this. So I sincerely believe that this brief presentation would enlighten you and you would enlighten the stakeholders around you. My dear friends, in the subsequent class, we shall try to understand the safety concerns in a laboratory which deals with chemicals, or in other words, an environmental engineering laboratory. And before I conclude, please remember, there is a separate section who handles hazardous waste. As I told you, biomedical waste, e-waste, or anything hazardous as a matter of fact. And whatever threats or hazards that I have spoken to you so far, they can be compounded. It can become multifold if hazardous waste also find their way into the municipal solid waste. So my dear friends, these are the references for your kind perusal. I thank you for your kind patience, and now the forum is open for any questions or queries that you might have.